Hey everybody, this is Fernando from the Rollback Podcast. And I know what you're thinking. He has not been consistent, and I know that, and I'm sorry, but we'll try to be a little bit more consistent now. So, for today's movie, I watched this very 80s movie that I never heard of before with my brother. It is called The Best of the Best, riding off the coattails of The Karate Kid. Let's get into it. So yes, like I said, the movie that we're going to be looking at today is The Best of the Best. It came out in 1989, and yeah, it pretty much just rides the coattails of The Karate Kid. Never seen it before, had no idea what this movie is about until my brother suggested that we watch it. And holy shit, is this movie very 80s. The only thing that was missing was the quintessential love interest for the main character, played by a one Eric Roberts. And you may have seen him before. He comes out in a bunch of movies as like the villain or as a side character. And fun fact, he's the brother of Julie Roberts. Another fun fact, he's the father of Emma Roberts. So there you go. The other cast members include Philip Ray, who plays Tommy, Chris Penn, brother of Sean Penn, also deceased. You may have seen Chris Penn in movies such as The Reservoir Dogs, Footloose, Close Range, All the Right Moves, Pale Rider, things like that. Great actor. He kind of fits in this movie. Granted, they all just kind of fit in this movie. The coach is played by James Earl Jones. But that's pretty much it. Like, you really don't know who any of these people are aside from those people. And yeah, this movie is just very 80s. So 80s. Now, the only logical thing to compare it to is The Karate Kid. The Karate Kid's a much more personal story. And so you kind of just like, I don't know, like this movie, it has personal moments, like very over-the-top personal moments. For example, Eric Roberts' character, Alex Grady, is, he's just, your regular worker, and he finally gets a shot to try out for the American karate team. And he has a 5-year-old son at home. I'm doing air quotations because if you see the kid in the movie, you're like, that's the biggest 5-year-old I've ever seen in my life. And in reality, the kid was 10. I don't know why they didn't go with just 10 years old. And so he has to leave his son behind. At one point, his son gets hit by a car under the care of his grandmother, and he is in a coma. They think he's going to lose his leg, but guess what happens? Nothing. He lives. He wakes up from the coma. He gets to go to see his dad in the competition. But before that, Eric Roberts' character has to beg James Earl Jones to be let back on the team. Because, going to visit your son in the hospital is not a valid excuse to leave training. What can I tell you? But yeah, like, James Earl Jones' character in this movie is a complete and utter dick. He's a horrible person. And it's so over the top. I couldn't help but laugh throughout most of this movie. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's one of those movies where it's kind of so bad that it's really good. And you have to take it as that. It's not something that you're going to be like, oh man, this is Oscar worthy. Like, no, this is a movie that you're going to pretty much laugh at from in and out. So yeah, the movie goes through karate. It's far more violent than what you see in Karate Kid, things like that. And it's funny because, like, the hits, they don't look like, they look effective. Like, the hits actually look like they get them, but, like, the reaction to the hits are so over the top. Like, for example, Chris Penn's character plays this rough and rowdy fighter who's completely different from everybody else. Like, he's fatter than everyone else, but like he's like a Mack truck. He hits everybody, and he really just doesn't take any shit from anyone. So you see his character, and he throws punches like he's killing somebody. Eric Roberts' character is a fucking crybaby for the most of the movie. Like, there's so many parts where he's just crying for no reason whatsoever. Philip Ray, I need to talk about him. He plays Tommy, the other lead protagonist of the team. He's pretty much, aside from Eric Roberts, the best karate fighter in the team. And his whole shtick is that he saw his brother die in a tournament to one of the competitors that he's fighting in this tournament. They're fighting the South Korean team. And so, you know how that works. Blood feuds, things like that. Very normal stuff. Very, very just out. It's all normal. This is normal. Tell yourself this throughout your watching this movie. This is normal. But yeah, we follow this ragtag group of individuals thrust together in this American karate team to fight in this invitational match against the South Korean team. And again, normal. All normal. I know I'm only mentioning the three characters, Travis, Alex, and Tommy. There's two other ones. They're not really detrimental to the story, let's be honest. It's Virgil and Sonny, but they don't really do much. The three big ones are Travis, Alex, and Tommy. The chemistry with the cast was pretty good. The funniest part for me is seeing Eric Roberts with long hair, like a fucking teenage heartthrob. The dude, like, I'm telling you, the only thing this movie was missing was the fact that he needed a love interest. If he had that, this is your quintessential 80s movie, and it hits all the beats of an 80s movie. But yeah, it was just missing that. But overall, I mean, the movie's a fun movie to watch. I would highly recommend it, especially if you like those cheesy 80s movies. But yeah, like, if you try to compare it to The Karate Kid, it's completely different. Karate Kid had the benefit of having the director from Rocky, having the benefit of a great person to score the movie. You can't really compare the two. This movie, like, the soundtrack was pretty forgettable, to be honest. There's really no, like, you're the best around. Yeah, there's nothing like that. As far as the soundtrack goes, you can pretty much forget it in like 5 seconds. But no, I mean, as far as early fighting movies goes, I'd say this is probably not one of the worst ones. It's fighting movies, unless it's boxing, have always been a little quirky because they've always been like fight to the death. I'm surprised in this movie you don't see one scene of like the Karate Kid where it was put him in a body bag. But yeah, this movie is definitely something else. Another thing I didn't know about this movie is that it had 3 sequels after it. And I'm just like, how the hell did this movie get sequels? This movie was okay at best. But other than that, like, what the fuck? This movie was just, watching it for the first time, I was just like, movie is wild. But hey, go for it. It is a funny watch. I would highly suggest it, especially if you like cheesy 80s movies. I myself, I'm a little partial to them, so I might be a little biased. Granted, I may say like, oh, you probably won't like this, this, and this, but in the end, I'm still going to be like, this is a pretty good fucking movie, you should really watch it. But as far as that goes, this movie's story is pretty much super vanilla. You have a bunch of ragtag group of fighters, but to be fair, you only really know the backstory for Tommy and Alex, and that's pretty much it. You're just kind of left to be like, okay, that's Travis, that's Virgil, and that's Sonny. The background stories for me are just absolutely hilarious, especially for their characters. Alex is just like this crybaby who keeps saying like, oh, this is my last shot. It's like, dude, you're fucking like you're fighting karate. You're not fighting in the Olympics. Let's take it down a notch. And Tommy, oh man, the funniest part was that he's fighting the guy that killed his brother. When his brother died, he was like maybe 10 years old, and then when he's fighting in this tournament, he's 26. So there had to be like a 16-year gap between him and the fucking guy fighting. Not just 16 years, more than that. So let's say like they were fighting, and the dude was, let's go with 20. I'm just gonna say 20, and he was 10. There's a huge difference in age there. I'm just surprised that they were able to fight. But you know what? Whatever. I'm accepting that this happened. Oh my god. Then that brings me to the ending. The ending of this movie. Holy shit. This movie ends with the American team loses. A little bit of a shocker because usually, there's always the happy ending. But no, the American team loses. The South Korean team gives their medals to the American team as a sign of respect. The guy who killed Tommy's brother looks at him, and he, at the end of his speech, he says, I will replace your brother with me. And it's just like, what? You can just forgive this guy for killing your brother, but I mean, you probably can. He didn't do it maliciously, and he basically said sorry in the middle of the ring, so it's whatever. But yeah, as far as over-the-top movies goes, this one is by far and away super over-the-top. But would I recommend it? Fuck yes. This movie is fun. So please, give it a watch. That's really all I have to say about this movie. There's no like in-depth detail that I can go into this movie because it's super plain. It's super to the point. As far as the acting goes, the acting is as good as it's going to get. So take that for what you will. And that is the end of the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a short one today. Not that short, 12 minutes and change. It's not too bad. But no, I'm going to be putting out a little bit more content. Just going to try to keep up with the schedule. But yeah, hopefully I get another movie out to you soon. Maybe I'll do a double feature for this week. We will see. And yes, this is the end of the show, everybody. I'm Fernando. Please check out our link tree below with all our links to all of our channels. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, I believe iHeartRadio. But so many links. So many. So please check them out, listen to us, and check out our written reviews on the website, therollback.net. And I'm Fernando. This is your Wednesday Rewind. So fucking cut it.